All right, hey everybody, my name is Jim Shelvy. I'm one of the co-founders here at NexCore. I'm excited today to be sitting with Christian from ChiroPraise. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
I say welcome, but you're kind of out of your element. You're not from St. Louis. You don't even live in St. Louis.
The joke is, no, I'm not. I live in Kansas City. I'm from California.
Well, that is a joke.
Yeah. Well, but the running joke is I didn't get accepted by the people here in the Midwest until I married a Midwesterner. She's from St. Louis, so I get to play the whole Cali kid turned Midwestern.
You don't look like I don't envision you on a surfboard with the flowing blonde hair.
Yeah, I had flowing blonde hair before ChiroPraise. And now it's taken on a whole. I'm not your quintessential Californian. I'm more of like the stay indoors behind a computer. I guess now the modern California.
Like a bit of a geek.
Yes, yeah. We prefer to call it not geek, hipster is the term.
Hipster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hipster.
No, I love the Midwest. It's crazy. St. Louis feels a lot like Kansas City. The biggest difference is being you guys have better food, and the people are and the people are much nicer.
In St. Louis?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, it was funny. My business partner Larry and I, we worked in Kansas City for a couple of years. Me more than him, and then we were really working there together. And we were at an event. We're talking about St. Louis, and there was a guy there. Afterwards, he comes up to us, and Larry innocently responded. It was so funny. So this guy comes up to us and he goes, people in Kansas City really don't like people in St. Louis. And Larry goes, really? We don't even think about you. It was just like out of nowhere.
It's crazy. I'm a big baseball fan, right? Growing up in the Bay Area, somehow I managed to grow up as a Dodger fan, which is not good because it's Giants territory. Obviously here, you guys are fiercely loyal to your Redbirds. When I got to Kansas City, I felt like, it's not a National League team. Right, it's an American League team. The Royals fans will love me, right? But somehow, in some weird way, because we play competitively against the Cardinals, i.e. the Cardinals kick the crap out of us the first round of the playoffs every year that we play them, they lumped us in with the Cardinals. I would wear a Dodger cap to a Royals game. I would get booed to the nth degree. So, I kind of still keep my Dodgers gear tucked away. But no, I'm not a St. Louian, I think is the right term. But
I think it's Lewiston.
Is it Lewiston?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like I said, my wife grew up here. She went to school here. Our family's here. A lot of cops in our family.
So when you grow up, what do you plan to do?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to those days. First, I'm hoping that my hairline doesn't recede. It actually grows the opposite way. But,
You can hope in one hand.
And there you go. And then whichever one fills up first. I feel like I've grown up a little bit. But with that maturity, I am now heading up operations for a pretty badass marketing agency, which I'm pretty excited about. Us, we're here all the time, primarily on Tuesdays, but it feels like we're always here because...
I got to tell you though, so when you came in, it's funny because now I feel like you're a staple here, even though you're not here as often as I would love for you to be here, because you guys bring such a dynamic energy. It's really contagious when you guys are in the building. But I remember talking with Matt, who is the founder of ChiroPraise.
Yeah, he's the owner.
And I spoke with you. Matt said, we'll probably only be here like one day a week. And then I said, well, you know what's going to happen? People are going to realize they can come here and they'll start coming here more often. Oh. And now Crystal's here like 3 or 4 times a week. She lives here.
She changed her mailing address to this place. Yeah, she loves it here.
I love it.
Well, you guys are making it difficult on us. I mean, you guys are building out. You've got a gym now. You've got an entire, screw the podcast studio, which is amazing. You actually have like a full-on, not even a photography studio. I feel like you could record movies in that place over in the back. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because everything we've put in has been in direct response to a member's request,
which is insane. I think that's why you guys have the loyalty that you do.
It's really been great. The next phase that we're building out, we're getting ready to start construction, and somebody said, "Do you know what it's going to be?" I'm like, "Not yet."
Yeah.
Right. It's going to have some walls. Right. It's going to have a door or two and a window.
I think I told you we went and met with a really cool agency, Align Media, here in Kansas City, in St. Louis, and their offices are amazing. Right?
Yeah.
Completely they did what you guys have done, and the owner of the agency was like, if you guys are growing, we're going to have this entire floor. And I came back and I was like, man, the amenities are cool, but I don't see our team ever moving away from NexCore. Obviously, someday we'll have to move. way distant.
We'll just have to get you a wing.
Just to keep going. Yeah,
Just have to get you a wing.
No, it's crazy. I think like you guys, we were talking about it earlier today, that you guys check all the boxes without needing to check all the boxes. Culture, I've always said this even with hiring for a company, you can teach somebody skills, you can't teach somebody to culturally acclimate to an environment. You guys have clearly cultivated an amazing culture over the last years. So we're like always
16 months we've
16
been in
months.
business.
So, okay, less than 2 years, but this has obviously been a brainchild of yours for quite some time. So you were building it out in your head, right? Shining it
So,
on.
true story.
Yeah.
It's December of 2016,
Okay.
and I go over to Larry's house.
Yeah.
We get in his car, and we're driving to Kansas City.
Okay.
And I'm driving his car, and I'm leaning, and he's on the other side leaning on his phone. There's like this wedge between us.
I know
And
that drive too. That's no joke.
yeah, so pick him up at 3 o'clock. At 3:45, we probably haven't said a word. And I'm finally like, the radio's not on. He's on his phone.
What do you
And
guys-
I go, hey. He goes, yep. I go, I hate this. He goes, me too. We just start collaborating. So it was a Tuesday, and we were supposed to be there until Thursday evening, and then drive back Thursday evening.
Yeah.
We left at 9 o'clock that night to come back. We had an engagement at 7, so we had to get there. We had to finish. So we ate. It's probably 9:30 or so. We eat, and we start driving back. And on the way back, we're planning this space out.
Right.
So he's looking up vacant buildings for us to buy.
Mm-hmm.
He drops me off in my car, I drive home. He gets back out and leaves his house, 2 o'clock in the morning at this point. And he goes to the vacant building right down here. He calls me at 2 a.m. and goes, I found it.
Which 2 a.m. here, he's committed.
He's committed.
Oh, yeah.
So the next day we come here, and the owner of that building is on a ladder leaning against that building, and he happened to own this building too.
And this is the one ultimately where you guys...
And this is ultimate. And we started off, it was just going to be an office for us.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we're in a room that's probably about 600 square feet.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we thought we were getting. It's like
I bet
here
this
to
place is
there.
huge. Matt and I
Yeah,
always
almost
talk-
30,000 square feet.
Can I tell you something? We were just walking around, because I love walking around the neighborhood whenever I need
Yeah.
meetings or whatever. And he was like, man, we should buy one of these buildings sometime. And I'm like, yeah, it seems like it's like a booming area. Like, there's so much happening, and I think you guys probably are a big part of that. But he was like, yeah, and the other thing is, in these kinds of buildings, there's like these pockets that you don't know about. We just found out about the library upstairs. So we're like, this is amazing. Like, it's like I said to him, I was like, don't tell the team about it. Because I just want to keep this for us. What you guys have done with the building is freaking amazing. And I think when I was upstairs, you can see the pictures.
Yes.
How it kind of came to be.
Okay, so I was just going to tell you, the pictures that are on that wall.
Yeah.
So we're putting the pictures up, and behind that wall is a door that leads to an apartment that we didn't even know was there.
How crazy
it's like
is
a
that?
4-room apartment.
I'm telling you, like, this place is cool. I think that was what it boiled down to for us. We went to some other co-working spaces that are larger, more conformed to that like structured traditional
Yes.
co-working. And you come here and it's different. Like you guys, it's almost like you guys punched holes in different places and we're like, we're going to turn this into something. We don't know yet, but we are. And then all of a sudden it's functional.
That's exactly how it happened. We have the fishbowl conference room that you guys like.
Yeah.
That was drywalled on both sides of the windows and doors. No idea there was windows and doors there. And
Now it's perfect. You can see it.
Yeah, it's like it's so cool. I mean, but I want to pause us because we'll talk about NexCore the whole time, and as much as I love that, it's my passion. I want to learn a little bit more about you. One of the things that we strive for is to be able to connect our members to business opportunities that exist either within the NexCore community itself or externally coming in.
Absolutely.
In order to do that, I have to have a better understanding of who you are and what you do. And when we had lunch today, I learned a lot about you. It was really intriguing, and just seeing you connect with Lori and Dana and some of our staff, it was fun. But I learned a lot about ChiroPraise. So I'd like you to share, what you're focused on, the statistics that you shared.
Numbers.
Go ahead.
Okay, so statistics. Let's see. High school is probably when I was in my best shape. I would say I was about $180. Maybe
Solid
6%.
muscle.
Yeah, 6% body fat easily. No. Chiropractic is actually crazy to me. So Matthew Queen, the owner, he's an amazing human being who has done everything. Software engineer galore, worked for the DOD, he's worked for Monsanto, he's made the rounds. He came up with this amazing idea of building out a web-based widget. This was 5 years ago when that was still not like the thing to do, right? So he's like, I want something that gives an underserved market. He looked at the legal space. He looked at car dealerships. He looked at, which again, 5-6 years ago, these were untapped markets, really, right?
Sure.
And also chiropractics. And he was like, I want a resource that gives them the power to take testimonials from their clients or their customers and then blast them across multiple resources, right? Or multiple social assets like Facebook or Instagram. Well, Instagram, not really at the time, but you get the picture, right?
Sure.
And it evolved. He had this life-changing experience with his youngest, his son, and they went and saw a chiropractor, and it changed. He was like, I need to service this industry. So he did a bunch of research, and as a software engineer, cold called a tremendous amount of chiropractors. Hey, would you buy this resource?
So a software engineer made cold calls?
It's insane. That's why I always say, I feel like he's lying about his software capabilities, like his development, because I don't know. If you sit in a room with him, you're like, this guy's too social and personable to be a developer. But, I mean, software development landscape has changed greatly in a year, so imagine what it was like when he was in his 30s. He's in his 60s now, late 60s.
Early 70s.
And give or take, yeah. No, so Matt had this crazy idea. He said, if we can do more for a service or for an industry that's underserved, and we can promote really the service side of it, we could potentially be the largest service provider and from marketing services in this multi-billion-dollar space. So it took him about 5 years, stumbled on some different bumps, but what ended up happening is ChiroPraise is the largest full-service digital and traditional marketing agency in the chiropractic space. We're talking about 83 chiropractors just in the United States alone, right? Like you blow those numbers out once you go to different continents. So we are the largest. And
you said 83 chiropractors. You meant
83,000.
83,000.
Yeah, sorry, did I say
Okay.
83?
You said 83.
Sorry. I was going to say,
I'm
yeah.
here to balance you.
Thank you. That's why you're like my work life. It's perfect. That's the way
Thank you
you're
so much. What are we having for dinner?
Yeah, Bastilles. We're going to Bastilles.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I recognized really quickly when I was looking at ChiroPraise is, and my background's in venture capital, right? So private equity. So I'm always focused on 5 P's of the business: people, problem, product, plan, and pricing, right? It always starts with people. Having domain expertise is incredibly important when you're tackling a space.
Can you say those 5 things again?
Yeah.
People,
problem, product, plan, and pricing. But it always starts with people, right? So anytime I would make an investment, it could be an angel investment, it could be a venture capital investment from my firm. Whether we're investing $25,000 or we've done some deals that are $1.2 million, we're always looking at first and foremost the people, right? There's a running joke in the venture capital space: you would never invest in a farmer trying to sell insurance, farmers insurance.
Right.
But so somebody who has domain expertise or experience, that's where you want to go. I met with Matt for 20 minutes, and I was like, holy snap. I'm like, this guy is so passionate, and he has ingrained himself to be so knowledgeable about chiropractics that it makes sense that he's now wanting to service them in a way that they're not currently being served, which is literally saying, a website's good, but what if we can make your website converting at a higher level? What if we put chat functionality? What if we put AI technology behind that chat functionality? What if we did auto-scheduling? So a new patient wants to come through your doors. What if you don't even need to jump on the phone and talk to them? What if they can schedule? They learn enough about you from your website. What if you're driving social traffic, right? Which is what we look at when we look at people opting into Facebook ads. And we created off of that social traffic offline currency, real dollars and cents, tangible. What if we told the story about who you are and we brought the services and the practice name along for the ride? And through that, ChiroPraise has become this massive force in the space. I mean, we're up to, we're hovering around 20 if you factor in our part-time, our contractors, and our full-time employees.
20 employees.
Yeah. We want to double in the next 6 months to a year. Our client count, we own 0.0015% of the market, and we're the biggest. So, I mean, we got a lot of room to grow. The biggest selling point for ChiroPraise, I think, from its people side is that, we're a distributed team. But let me tell you, it doesn't feel like that. I mean, not to plug NexCore, but it's helped a lot with our culture. When your wife was saying earlier, and she hit the nail on the head, our people are so damn dedicated and so focused. I think it's because we give them an environment to work in, whether it's their home, right, which we arm them with all the resources to be dangerous and dynamic from their couch. But then they come to a place like this and they're like, okay, I can vibe with this. I can feel comfortable. I can sweatpants it on a Thursday, and my client's going to feel like they're getting Fortune 100 marketing agency services. So we're getting really, really big. I think the biggest challenge we face is being able to. It's kind of like when you're running so fast, and you realize my legs aren't catching up and you trip over yourself, right? Like, you know the experience, right? Like, it's...
My staff and I go through that all the time. So I was with Kevin just now, and I was like,
well, it's like,
my feet are back there.
I always think about it like this, right? If you're in the startup world, we're so hell-bent on focusing on certain metrics. Profit, right? Like revenue, retention, employee happiness, employee engagement. But really the thing that helps to attain or to focus on all of those challenges within a business is just the curve, where you're growing, right? I mean, there's on a hockey stick growth trajectory, right? There's this perfect little inflex point, right? And we're there, and we're growing. But much like at the beach, we want to make sure that we have our hands tight enough and wide enough to accommodate every grain of sand. So the infrastructure has to accommodate the growth. And so I think for us right now, so much of 2019, and Matt and I are crazy meetings, over the last week and over the next week, just focusing on what 2019 looks like. No matter what, it always starts with our people. We have amazing people. I would be shocked if you took any agency in another space that's operating with tens of millions of dollars in their OpEx and put them against our people, pound for pound, we're better. Our people are just stronger, they're tougher, but they also have this like weird compassion for an industry that maybe hasn't directly impacted them in the same way that Matt's experience was when he started.
Right, but good leadership, that's contagious. Yeah. If you have that passion, you can, it's almost like osmosis, right?
Yeah.
You just get around people and it just absorbs into their being.
Yeah, I think I gave you the quote earlier, and it's really the quote I live by all the time. And I think Matt is kind of like, when my wife and I get these long conversations about like, the challenges of a startup, right? And it's like, your spouse.
There's no challenges with this startup.
Yeah. It's like flying deaf, dumb, blind, stupid in the dark, right? Like you don't quite know where you're going, you don't know how you're going to get there, but you swear, you're like, no, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. You may have to bump a couple walls and, you bruise yourself up a little bit, but I always tell my wife, like, Matt is like a flashlight, right? Like, it always feels like there's a burning point, if you leave him on too much. So if he's going, like most people, he's going to burn out. But you don't always need the flashlight, right? When you build a successful company and when you hire the right people and put them in the room, put them around the table, eventually it's okay to turn off the flashlight. You got enough light in the room. You got enough bright spots. And I feel like what ChiroPraise did long before I got here was focused, diligently double down on people. And it shows. We have our new vice president of strategy and sales. That guy took a pay cut like that. Some people would work 40 hours a week for a year and a half and still not hit, just to come work with us. I'd like to think it's because he's like, holy crap, I can grow with this guy. Creative control, freedom, and flexibility are so valuable within an early stage company. If you can grab a culture, build on it, hold on to it, and then nurture it, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think attributes to that level of commitment for somebody that just met you? So, do you think your reputation in the space precedes itself, or do you think that's just the impassioned conversation with Matt and with you and this guy?
I honestly hope it's a little bit of both, right? I think on the one hand, we have this like really good, like we were just talking about today, our core values, right? You popped in on that meeting, like, we're always looking at what's comfortable and what's working, and we will eventually, I would say the frenemy of comfort is complacency, right? So we're too comfortable. Our people it's not that they're too happy, but they're too comfortable, right? Like the way that we hire, like what's harder for us? To continue to hire the way that we have, or to change it up? Let's have higher expectations from candidates, right? Like let's have higher expectations from ourselves. Let's set unrealistic numbers, because the unrealistic last year, we hit them. So how do we continue to move the ball forward in a way that impacts our people? It's the way that we collaborate. It's the way that we communicate. You're right. Every step of ChiroPraise's systems from an employee's perspective, from the moment they apply to the job, which these aren't regular job recs, right? These aren't written like an AP press release, line by line by line item, and then you do this, and then you do this. It's like we put flair in there. Are you a nerd? Good, we are too. Right? Like, do you love technology? We hate it, but we'll still dive in and check it out. Like, we hire off of cultural proclivity to be able to acclimate so deeply into our culture, and you feel it every step of the way. You're right.
Yeah, but those things, like if I saw that in an ad, and I haven't applied for a job in a very long time, I'm unemployable.
It's fair.
But if I was looking for a job and I saw something like that, I'd be like, okay, they're a little odd.
Yeah,
they're
for
a little
sure.
different.
For sure.
In
Yeah.
all the ways that you
100%.
want if you're going to be an employee somewhere.
100%. Look, I was born and bred in this startup after the dot-com bubble burst so glamorously for all of the people who are in California and beyond. Like, my background's in human resources and talent acquisition, right? So, yeah, I was born in this.
Which is funny to me. For those that know you, that's funny to me.
Yeah, it is funny, actually. It's great. We were talking about that. Yeah, I'm like the worst human resource on the planet. But no, look, so the way I look at it is this, like, when I started, recruiting is really where I started. And this was back when LinkedIn had a few thousand people on. You had to be wicked competitive, wicked quick, but you also had to be outside of the box, right? Like, I think about like some of the companies that I've worked with and where I've been the head of the talent acquisition side of the organization, candidates sending me a pizza after I interviewed with them, and I open it up, and then there's a note in there with one piece missing that says I'm the missing piece of the pie. Outside of the box, wonky, wild, creative ways of getting noticed from an employee to an employer and from an employer to an employee, that's what keeps you above the rest, right? Everybody can go and look at the line items, man. I'm telling you, yeah, the technical proficiencies of the organization, we know how many words you have to type per minute or what kind of software resources you need to be, familiar with. But what if I told you that a badass culture is really what wins at ChiroPraise? Like, screw the whole software. So we'll teach you that, like that.
Right.
But like, can you get wild with us? We love going out and having happy hour together. We love arguing about politics, which is massively no-no, right? Like, I'll tell you, for my human reason, I am the only Democrat within the organization. So that makes me the water bottle surrounded by Budweisers. See what I did there because of St. Louis?
Yes.
Thank you.
In fact, it's the actual name of the city has been changed to
Has it?
Anheuser-Busch St.
That
Louis,
makes
Missouri.
sense. That makes sense.
The full name.
Yeah. But no, I think we're such a diverse culture because we lean into the weirdness, right? What happens as a result of that is that there's nothing left. There's nothing left to mirror. There's nothing left to, you don't have to like double or triple check the way you look, what you say. There's such a level of authenticity to it that it's like we get it all out. We have the most unbelievably constructive conversations. We beat and challenge each other. And I mean, from my perspective, I'm a leader within the organization, one of a few. But I encourage my people to challenge me. They'll tell you, I hate the word boss. I think it's creepy. Like, I don't want to be their boss, right? I don't want to be their friend, although I think I'm friendly with a lot of them, right? I think they would. I don't know if they go to drinks with me because they feel like they have to, though. That's something we'll unpack at a later time. But,
That's an HR thing we should talk about.
Yeah, right. No, I think
unnecessary work pressures.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I think what it boils down to is, like, let your freak flag fly, right? Like, be unique. Like, that's how you stand out as an employer, and more importantly, if you remove all the social stigma associated with going into an office and having to work, talk, and act a certain way, what is there left than just to be the authentic version of yourself? Which obviously helps with what your clients see, right? I mean, and your clients are feeling the best part of you.
Sure.
They're getting the best. Healthy mindset begets healthy output, right?
Well, it's funny that you say that, and you were talking before. That's why we put the gym in, and that's why we put the library in, and that's why we put the washer and dryer upstairs. So if
I know, I love that. I think that's so cool.
that was a good catch.
No, oh yeah. My 2019 is to use less profanity.
Right.
My 3-year-old, I think, is picking up way too much, way too quickly.
Nice. So you're getting down to one-letter words.
One-letter words, yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, I don't ever want to influence Kevin. I mean, I start cussing, Kevin starts cussing. It just becomes this.
It really
sick
gets bad.
like,
He cursed in front of his mother the other day. It was so bad.
For a Chicago kid, that's not. He's trying to break molds. Yeah. So.
Kevin's behind the camera. For those of you
Yes.
that don't know.
Kev.
Hi, Kev.
Howdy.
So I want to talk a little bit about you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been all over the country. You travel all over the country. I'm assuming you've been around the world a couple times.
Yeah.
So how did you and your wife meet? Let's start there.
Okay. So.
So I filled out the application. I mailed it in.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
called me.
So yeah. Exactly. So there I am recording this video testimonial about myself and putting it online. No. So my wife actually saw me speak. So I was fortunate to there was a cool event in Kansas City and I spoke and there were like thousands of people there and I was thinking to myself, like, this one girl, it's so weird, man, like in the crowd, like I caught this one girl and
We can edit that out if your wife doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, don't tell my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and then eventually what happened was she came up to me and talked to me afterwards. And it was crazy because, like, I remember getting fatigued because anytime you speak, it doesn't matter where it is, people want to eventually come up and connect with you, right? And vice versa, right? If you're a great speaker, you want to go and you want to connect with people. Make sure that they got, what they needed from, your talk or whatever. And she literally, I'm excited, I'm getting ready to shake hands with this woman, and she's like, when you said this, yeah, you technically were wrong about that, though. Because did you think about, and I was like, what? I was like, this is not how I envisioned it. I envisioned it being you, glossy-eyed.
I'm the speaker. You're the star-eyed
Right,
fan.
Make me sound bad there. Yeah, no. But to make a long story short, I was like, I'm okay with being wrong. You know what? Why don't we go to dinner and you tell me all about it? And we did. And true story, it started pouring down rain on our first date. And one thing led to another, and I was like, I'm not ready for this night to be over. Let's go get coffee somewhere. And it's like 10 o'clock at night, right? So there's this small place in Kansas City, right by the hospitals, and we were sitting outside in the rain, which is very cool. It's like movie style, right?
Right.
And we didn't care. We just talked for hours, man.
And you were getting poured on.
Poured on.
Was there an umbrella or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There was a small umbrella. Yeah, but we weren't like sitting under them, but it was
Your coffee would have splashed
just
over.
splashing over, yeah. Right. No, but she was the first person that I felt like, growing up on the West Coast and being out here in the Midwest, and so much of my life, you're right. I mean, we were talking about it last year. I traveled 280 days. I went to 6 countries. I was in, 28 states, something like that.
So 6 countries: U.S., Canada, Mexico, California. Where else?
I know California is always included. Don't forget about Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. So Israel was a big one for me. I went to the UK.
Wow. How was Israel? I imagine it's just
loved it. Oh, it really is. It's an amazing place. I think from a faith perspective, it's incredible. I mean, because you go there and you're engulfed in this. Obviously, there's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of things you have to pay attention to. Be extra careful, about when you're there. But I think it's spiritually, it's a very enlightening place, which is awesome. But I was there for cannabis reasons. There's a big cannabis research cultivation facility there, which is fascinating.
Yeah, so you've invested in some cannabis companies.
Yeah, love cannabis. Yeah, we're not like that. I mean, I love the cannabis space because I think that it has a lot of medicinal purposes that aren't quite out in the public. I know CBD is huge right now. Everybody's talking about it. I don't think a lot of people know what cannabinoids are and how many different types of them and what they service. And but no, medical cannabis for me is something that I fell in love with. I think it has so many positive upsides for the future. I mean, we're excited about Missouri. Missouri is the next big frontier for us. So we're working on our licensing and we're going to be rolling out some stuff, which we're excited about.
Excellent. So tell me about your structure of what you do. So obviously you work full-time-ish for ChiroPraise. Full-time?
10%, yeah.
What else are you doing still? You teach.
I teach, yeah. I get an opportunity to teach a venture capital course. I've stepped away really from the daily ops on the investment side, but being a part of a fund still has responsibilities. So investing in a lot of, at the fund level, not fun, but fund.
With a D.
Yeah, with a D. Investing in a lot of technology, service-based industry, companies. I love CPG. There are spaces that are intriguing to me. So I'll get high and mighty on a space and I'll say, I love that space. And then my wife and I do a lot of investing at the angel level as well. Real estate's obviously a big one, right? Of course, I think that's the most tangible asset, especially when you're starting to build out a portfolio. But I would say that the biggest thing, I sit on some nonprofit boards. I think my personal portfolio right now, just on the investment side, probably in the 60s. So I sit on a few boards through those companies. But I'm ChiroPraise all the way, and I think I've been a part of some companies in my past that have exploded in growth, and that helps to create a tremendous amount of liquidity to do more. But ChiroPraise it's been a long time since I've been a part of a company where I'm like, this thing is gonna explode. It just needs a little bit more time and a little bit more people in the right places. And this thing is, it's bonkers how big we can be. And so ChiroPraise has really become like my second life. It's where I think about it from sun up to sundown. And So obviously at the investment level, that's kind of taking a little bit of a backseat. But I am still extremely invested in the company, or vested in the companies that I've invested in. So that's a big thing. So cannabis obviously was a huge industry last year. That's where I spent a lot of time. It's focusing on cultivation, processing, distribution. It's an incredibly, I think, for people that fall in love with sort of abnormal spaces or industries. Obviously, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is a big one for a lot of people. Blockchain technology, stuff like that. AI and virtual reality. Cannabis is probably the one industry that's still the wild, wild west. It's still, there's no Anheuser-Busch's in cannabis.
Right.
I mean, so it's fascinating because it's so untapped. So, yeah, so I try to do, and I've got 2 small kids. So, I still do donut day with dad and, hanging out with kiddos.
How many days a week are you on the road now?
So I'm here in St. Louis 2 to 3 days a week, which is not bad at all. I mean, last year I put 82 or 83,000 miles in the year. So
How many in the car?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I got to a point where I was so lazy about travel that I would fly from St. Louis to Kansas City, so I didn't have to make the drive.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like a...
And like that too, which was bad. I'd be like, you know what? What's the next flight? That's what I'm getting on. Yeah, I mean, when you travel, here's the thing. Going to London and Paris and Brazil, all these amazing places. It's like, oh my gosh, that is addicting. That's so cool. And I did not take for granted. I think it's incredible to be able to do that. Eventually, you just miss home. And when you have 2 small kids, and you know this, right? From when your kids were tiny. Man, there's just nothing that replaces your bed, your couch, your kids, picking up toys, doing dishes at home. Those are things. My favorite part of the week, no lie, is my son is obsessed. So we do this. So I'm 50% French, 50% Italian, and so we were working on French with him, and he'll cook with me, and then we'll do dishes together, and we call it crepes with dad.
Crepes with dad?
Crepes with dad, yeah. That's his
Are you sure you're 50-50? Have you done the 23andMe or the...
I've done the 23andMe.
Is it exactly 50-50?
It's 49-7.
So you lied.
Okay, it's close though. There's a margin of error, just like the polls in 2016. I can get away with saying that now. Yeah. No, so that's why. I mean, travel now is it's 2-3 days a week, which is not bad. I honestly, there are some days when I will do Tuesday. I'll drive. I'll leave KC at 4 a.m. and then I'll make the 5-hour drive here, 4-hour drive here, work my full day here, and then I'll drive back. It's not that bad. And plus, you guys are getting the light rail here pretty soon, or the Hyperloop. So
that's what they say.
That's what they keep saying. Yeah.
We'll see if it materializes.
I hope it does.
All right, so I got to tell you, I really enjoyed this. The banter was great, and hearing how you respond to some things are great. You said something earlier when we did lunch, caught my attention, and I didn't want to pounce on it then. I wanted to pounce on it now. So you said something about the word entrepreneur that makes sirens go off.
That is fitting, my friend. I don't know how you did that.
Good?
That's pretty good.
I called it in a half hour ago, and that's how long it takes.
It's on his watch. It's like 911.
Right.
Yeah.
But you said something about the word entrepreneur or the
I
people
hate that word.
Yeah. So
Despise it.
why? What about it?
I think it comes with this
Connotation.
Yeah, it's really an entrepreneur is not something that you can pick up in a box and that you can open up, lay out on a table, and then say, okay, so here. Everybody's path is different. It's a mindset, and I think entrepreneur as a whole, that word has been so beaten to shreds and so played out. I believe that the person that's starting, a real estate business, that they've got their license, they're sitting at home, they're cranking, they're pounding the pavement, they're doing that, is just as entrepreneurial in mindset as the founder of, Snapchat. The only thing that differs between the two of them is one is new, one is fresh, one has clearer and cleaner access to capital and celebrity, whereas the other one is being built the way that businesses were intended, right? Bootstrapped from the ground up,
right?
Rolling your sleeves up and literally getting to work, right? Capital, I realize that it's counterproductive for an investor to say, somebody who invests so aggressively into technology and businesses, to say that capital is a necessary evil, but it is. So I prefer the term disruptor. It's like literally looking at the way that something is done and saying, I think I can do it better. Or I think there's a better way. It doesn't need to be revolutionary for it to be brilliant. It doesn't need to be revolutionary for it to be an impactful, sustainable, and scalable business. It just needs to be somebody or a group of people behind an idea, pushing and pulling and running and clawing and scratching and screaming and doing everything humanly possible for an outcome, right? I think that's what it is. And that journey, that's what makes you an entrepreneur truly, because it shifts your mind.
I have to tell you, when you said that, and as you're saying this, it shifted something in my thinking.
Yeah?
I want to tell you.
It's good.
Truthfully.
You have had a couple beers, though.
Because
so
I've not, actually,
okay,
but I will.
All right.
I probably won't.
Okay,
But
well then
anyway,
it's all me. Let's go back to that.
So, it's interesting because
Yeah.
I believe that our employees, we have
Yeah.
phenomenal employees.
Yeah, you do.
And they're entrepreneurs.
yes,
Just because of how you get paid
right.
doesn't determine the mindset of the entrepreneur. So I agree with what you're saying.
Or being put up on a pedestal because of something. Yeah.
Right. And on the flip side, just because you don't have a job doesn't make you an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It just means you're unemployed.
Right.
So not everybody
You're
deserves
free.
the moniker, the title,
Yeah.
the award
Yeah.
of disruptor / entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this. It's a mindset. It's not something you can, obviously, like with anything, we're meant to think differently, right? That's what makes all of us so unique. That's our social DNA codes, right? If
Sure.
we think differently about the same thing. I think the bravery that's associated with, you don't even need to be it's not entrepreneurial to just start a company. It's literally just identifying the way things are done and saying, I think there's a better way, or I think I can do it differently. Now, that's not to say that I'm entrepreneurial because I decide that if I cut through the alleyway, as opposed to walk around, it saves me time. But I think that it's a part of the mindset.
It's a bit disruptive, though.
But it is a part of the mindset if you think about it.
Sure.
I think my wife used to tell me when I started my first company in Kansas City, she said, you were terrifying because you hated being alone. I would literally, when I would take a shower, I would put on tune-in radio. I never wanted silence. Because even if you have co-founders when you're starting a business, even when you've got investors and board members and employees, you're still alone up here. And it is so terrifying when you feel the pressure of knowing it can stop with me. Not that it needs me to keep going, but it can stop with me. There's a power there, that you need to learn to get through. And I think that's where you really begin a part of the larger journey of being a disruptor is you recognize that it may fail, right? And that's the other thing is I despise the people that are being told that failure is a bad thing. In the Valley, there's a running joke that a venture capitalist won't touch a founder unless they failed at least 3 times. There's a duplicity to it. One, they want them to fail with other people's money.
Right.
And two, the lessons that you learn from failing, it's incredible. So, we have this saying within ChiroPraise, which is we don't win or lose, we win or learn, right? Which is something Michael Jordan used to say, which I love. So there's no such thing as an L. We don't put those on the board. We don't lose, we learn. And there's a difference there, right? It's taking what you've seen that worked and didn't work, and then just making sure to sidestep that crap when it comes your way the next time, right? But entrepreneur as a whole, I think we should get away from that. I think that it's a mindset. I think we should talk about the not even the disruptors, the movers and the shakers, the dreamers, the people that are willing to go left when everybody's going right, the people that are willing to Lori is her name, right?
Yeah, Lori Sharpstein.
Gosh, man, you could see it in her eyes, when she was talking about how she's been in retail management. That was before, the jet.coms. That was where everything you had to sell, educate, inspire, close, retain, all in a matter of 5 minutes within one conversation face to face. How the hell do you do that consistently? It's underappreciated, right? Always. But if you can make it in that world, and then you eventually get the courage to go out and unleash that mentality, to your own space where you're the person, dude, the real estate game better watch out.
We need to get her a beast mode shirt.
Beast mode, I like it.
We should
I
sign
like
it
that.
on the back.
I like
The
that.
bald guys from
Yeah.
NexCore /ChiroPraise.
We could
Disruptors.
get like a little, like with us smiling, with a little.
Probably
thumbs
don't
up,
wanna
no?
put those
Not that
images
one?
on it.
Yeah, that's probably fair. She's trying to attract business. Yeah, no, but I think that there's a power to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think in some cases people look and they like real estate. It's not revolutionary. Well, f that. It doesn't need to be revolutionary for it to be bold. It doesn't need to be revolutionary. It doesn't need to be unique. It doesn't need to be something you've never heard of for it to be successful. It needs to have a person who has a willingness and a desire to just run as fast, as hard, as smart as you can. Right? I always say starting a business is like building a ship while you're sailing through krakens, icebergs, sharks, and oh, by the way, you're already on the water, and you got people, you got mouths to feed. You got to man the ship. You got to tell people where to go, but the ship isn't built yet. So it's like this backwards relationship that you have when you build a business, but it's possible. And failure, it only helps to strengthen the whole. Right? I mean, that's why what we built at ChiroPraise, what we're continuing to build, we don't shy away from those times when we do make mistakes. We just learn from them. I think Lori, she was like sharing some of the stuff that she's learned just so far in starting business in less than a year and a half. You know, like when she said, I loved it when she was like, you know, it's all on me. It's my paycheck. It's my money. I'm the CEO now, right? Like I'm the CEO. I'm the janitor. I'm the marketing manager. I'm the salesperson. I'm all of that. There's no such thing as a day off. And I think once you learn how to manage those relationships, those me, myself, and Irene type of, personalities, eventually you find something. And if you're really good at what you do, and if you're really in tune to the people around you who are feeding into you and pouring knowledge and advice, you find something in yourself. You look back on it and you're like, 10 years? God, it's been 10 years? I built how many companies? I employ how many people? Holy moly. I play how much to local economic growth? Like that's where you are, right? But that didn't happen overnight. I mean, it takes time. I think that it's a long-winded way of me saying, like, if I could, I would say F the entrepreneur, right? Here's to the dreamers, the people that are willing to take this, the people that believe in themselves more than they believe in the other people in their industry. That's what I like.
How do you follow that?
I don't know. Let's go get a beer.
I don't think you do. What an inspiring and powerful
Appreciate it.
conversation.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's always fun. Thank you.
Christian.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. This is why we do the real conversation. Dreamer.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.